Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. It may be the day before you get married. I know we divorced 27 years ago, but tonight is the night I get your father back. As the heading says, my parents divorced 27 years before this happened. It's always been civil on my dad's side of things. He had custody of us 3 kids and never said a bad word against our mom. My mom, however, blamed every negative thing in her life on him and/or my stepmother. I moved to England from Australia and ended up marrying the man I moved with /for. Coming from Australia, my whole ginormous family was coming, excluding the woman who was now ex-stepmother. Chalets were booked, everyone happy and excited. With my whole family coming, brother, sister, their partners and children, aunts, uncles, etc., we'd all agreed to book in the same place and have a bit of a holiday/family reunion. This place happens to have its own little pub run by 2 friends of ours. We spent the week sightseeing, doing wedding prep and playing in the snow. A novelty for Australians. The first and likely last time they'll see it. Night before the wedding, we all decide to have a meal at the bar. Whole place is practically booked out with our group, so our maid running the place is quite happy. We all eat, drink, and be merry, stories are told, laughs are had. Many at my expense, as I had been vehemently anti-marriage as a child. My whole aim in life as a child was to be a maths teacher in the army. Poor me, not only am I terrible at maths, but I also hate being told what to do. So this dream was always going to fail. Given that we were all heading to the wedding venue the next day, most of us retired at a reasonable hour. Husband-to-be and I merrily hiccuped our way to our chalet singing Land Down Under with my sister and her fiancé who were in the chalet next to us. And now we lay me down to sleep and god darn it, who the freak is calling me at this time? It's about 5 hours later, 2 in the morning. My maid from the pub is calling and said we should probably come down there. I shove coats and boots on over my pajamas and set off. Get there and there is my dad, doing his best to avoid my mom, who has decided that this is the moment. What moment, you ask? This is the moment she and my father get back together and all the wrong things in her life are righted. She was drunker than that feral pig who broke into a campsite, drank 3 6-packs of beer and tried to fight a cow. This is a true story, Google it. Dad didn't want to leave her at the bar alone, but he also didn't want to walk her back to her chalet and have her get the wrong idea, so he'd asked my maid to call me. I try and unwind her arms from him. She shrieks at me. Dad takes the opportunity to run away and I'm left with her. It's only about 100 meters to her chalet, so I start to walk her home. She starts crying and telling me the following. Your father still loves me, I know it. Mom, can you just stop and think about what you're saying? It's been so long since I had a man like your father. He satisfied me more than anyone I've been with. He's gotta… Seriously, no thanks. You can stop. Willie, that just makes me tremble. At this point, I stop walking. I hold her shoulders, look her in her very drunk eyes, and tell her that I do not need to know about her sex life with my dad ever. She bursts into tears and told me that I ruined it all. I ask her to explain. Apparently, my wedding was going to be the catalyst for their getting back together, and she was going to give this to me for my wedding present, having 2 united parents to hold my hand and walk me down the aisle. She then starts shouting that it would have all worked and I had to ruin it by showing up just when she was making her move. I sigh. I sigh again. I sigh once more for good measure and then ask her if she could please, just for this week, keep her stuff tidy and calm. I remind her that I'm getting married and that I didn't really want to be standing ankle deep in the snow at 2 in the morning, listening to her talk about manipulating my dad into having sex with her. Readers, she toddlered me. She sat in the snow, crying and refused to move until I told her that she could get back together with my father. So I left her there. I believe the snow worked its wonders on her burning loins because she didn't bother my dad again about getting back together. Tragically, it didn't stop her general entitlement. She still made her best effort at the wedding to attention seek and cause drama. Could you imagine having to deal with this the night before your wedding? Not even the night before, it's 2 a.m. It's the day of your wedding. What would you have done? Let me know in the comment section down below. Entitled Stepmonster shaves my head to get back at my mom. A little backstory before we jump into the main bit. My parents split up when I was 2, and both immediately paired up with the nightmares I would then be stuck with for the next 16 years. Both of my parents' new partners were horribly abusive in different ways, but this story focuses on my real-life wicked stepmother. We'll call her Vanessa. Something you should all know about my father is that he was not an involved parent. Before me, he had 2 other children with different women that he never saw. So it made sense when my parents broke up that I went to live with my mom. She made a lot of bad choices, but we actually had a relationship, and I felt like she loved me. My dad and I, however, did not have a close relationship at all. When he started dating Vanessa, we met and she seemed normal enough, but after they got married, things started to change. Vanessa hated my mother. Maybe because she was younger, maybe because she was more attractive, maybe because she was my dad's ex, or maybe it was just because Vanessa was a truly hateful person. But the reason doesn't matter. What does matter is that after marrying my dad, Vanessa had it out for my mom. What's one of the worst things you can do to a mother? Take her child and turn that child against them. And that is exactly what Vanessa tried to do. She convinced my dad to take my mom to court and to rip me away from my family. The courts eventually decided to give primary custody of me to my father because my mother had 2 other children, one with a disability, and my dad and Vanessa made more money. Vanessa did try for a long time to turn me against my mother, but I was utterly devoted. My mom and our other 2 and then 3 children were the only family I had ever known, and I loved them with everything I was. No amount of trash talking my other family or trying to win me over were successful. So when Vanessa realized she couldn't hurt my mother that way, she tried another tactic. She was going to treat me as badly as she legally could and rub it in my mom's face. That is where this story actually starts. My mom was very gothy, and I idolized her, so naturally I wore as much black as I was allowed to, and was very excited to grow up and have dyed gothy hair and tattoos and tons of piercings. When I was 10 years old, my mom bought me my very first bottle of semi-permanent black hair dye. I was so excited. But I told her, "Mom, I don't think Vanessa will let me dye my hair. She wants me to look normal for church. She won't even let me wear black clothes on Sunday." My mom's response was something along the lines of, "Vanessa can eat a big fat weenie. If this is what you want, then this is what we're going to do. Don't ever let people like her tell you who you are allowed to be and what you're allowed to look like. You are your own person." And I felt that in my heart. Vanessa hated everything about what made me the person I was anyway. How much worse could black hair possibly make it? Never ask how much worse a situation can get, guys, because the universe will be there winding up the most wicked curveball you've ever seen to show you just how much worse it can get. And that's exactly what happened. I returned to my father's home with sleek, shiny blue-black hair, soft and thick and all the way down past my waist. And Vanessa ordered my dad to take me to the barber and have it all shaved off. My father took me and held me down while I kicked and screamed and cried, "No, please don't cut my hair," while the barber gave me a buzz cut. I was traumatized, my mom was traumatized, and Vanessa hated dragging an already masculine little girl to church with no hair. But over time, I adjusted and decided to use it against Vanessa. I never grew my hair out to a normal girl's length again, and bleached and dyed it every color under the sun. Because what's the worst she could do to me? Shave it off? Edit. I'm 26 now, I've been out of the house since I turned 18, and a lot of people are asking why the barber agreed to do this. He was a close family friend of Vanessa's and she paid him very well. My dad ended up telling me years later that the barber looked really uncomfortable and didn't seem like he wanted to, though that obviously didn't stop him. My condolences to OP having to deal with this. It's such a frustrating thing to read and hear about. Literally using this child and manipulating them and treating them badly just to try to get back at your partner's ex? Absolutely disgusting person in my eyes. Entitled mother tries to take my property, blames me for stealing from her kid. Hello everyone. This one's about something that happened a few months ago and I just really can't figure out the logic of these people. Anyway, I'm just gonna jump right into the story. Cast. Me, yours truly. EM is entitled Monkey. NK is actual nice kid of the monkey. P1 is Police Officer 1. P2 is police officer 2. So since this happened a little over 3 months ago, the social distancing and stay-at-home stuff wasn't really in place yet. I spent every weekend playing with my RC car in the little park across the street. It was a birthday present and it was my very first gun-controlled car, so it was fair to say that it was expensive for an RC car. Every weekend day I went out for an hour and had zero issues whatsoever, until one day a lovely young lady, by lovely I mean not at all friendly looking, and her kid came strolling by. The mom sat down to text someone or something and the kid, 7 or 8 years old, came running up to me. Nice kid says, "Wow, that's a really cool car." Me, just trying to be nice to the guy. "Yeah, I got it for my birthday. You want to try it real quick?" The kid, really excited, "Yeah." So I give the controller to him and he drives it around for a few minutes with wonder and excitement in his eyes. When he's done, he asks me where he can get one of his own. Well, my parents got it at the insert local hobby shop name. They sell really fun cars. If you've never driven one before, then you can get a slower beginner's one at Target or something. Nice kid says, "No, I've driven one before. I'm gonna ask my mom if we can go to that hobby shop name place and get one." Alright, I recommend the AMP ECX ones. That's the one I have. But really any car like this will work. Nice kid says, "Okay, bye." I say, "Bye, kid." So a few minutes later, I'm fooling around, making jumps out of dirt, doing donuts, etc. The entitled mother walks up with a very disapproving look on her face and asks to talk to me. "My son says that he would like to buy a car similar to the one you're playing with right now. Did you tell him that he could get one?" "No, I just told him that he could get one at hobby shop name and I recommended this type." "Well, there's something you need to understand. I am a single mom and I work full-time to just put food on the table for my kid." Judging by the jewelry, the purse, and the sunglasses, I doubted it was just to put food on the table, but okay. "And there's no way I can afford one like yours." "Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you can just get a $10 one from Target." "No, you don't understand. My son really wants one like yours, and he said it was for your birthday. You wouldn't mind giving it up for him, would you?" I've never had anyone, not even entitled parents, ask me something like this before. "No, sorry, I really like this car, and just because it was for my birthday doesn't mean I'm fine with giving it up." "Why not? It probably wasn't very expensive." "Excuse me? It was $130. And anyway, there's no way I can just give up something that my parents got me for my birthday." "Stop being a brat, you don't deserve it. I work so hard and you do nothing." "I don't care if I don't deserve it, lady. Leave me alone." The entitled mother snatched up the car from the ground and said, "We will be leaving now, you selfish idiot." The kid was really surprised and started to say something, but the entitled mother cut him off. I ran up and grabbed the car and yanked it away from her. She fell in some mud and screeched, "I'm calling the cops for assault. I'll have you in juvie for this." The entitled mother actually called the cops, and when they arrived, they asked, "What's going on here?" "This kid assaulted me and stole my son's RC car." Police officer 2 says, "What's your side of the story, kid?" She wanted it for her kids, so she took it. When I tried to take it back, she called for assault. Police officer 1 says, "Can we have verification on whose it is?" "It's an AMP, pronounced wrong, EXC, wrong, and it was bought at Hobby Store." Actually, it's an AMP ECX, bought at Hobby Store, 9-hour charge, 1-hour playtime, lithium battery. Police officer 2 says, "Ma'am, give him the car back." "He's lying, I know it." She ran with the car. The officers caught her and gave the car to me. She didn't go to jail but got charged with attempted theft, and I think she has a warrant now. Anyway, end of story. This lady is the personification of entitled. All dressed up, dolled up, can't afford a $10 RC car for her kid, so she resorts to trying to steal it from somebody random in the park? I'm glad she got charged. I feel bad for the kid. Entitled mother tries to take my baby because I'm an unfit parent who caused my child's head injury at birth. Backstory. My son was born, doctor pulled him too hard, causing his head to be misshapen. They even tried to hide it under a hat because they didn't want to stress us out due to it being a difficult born. When the midwife saw his head, she quickly left the room and I heard yelling. Doctor said it will be fine, it will go back to normal. 3 years later, he still is in pain. Taken 2.5 years to be taken seriously. My midwife was not there during birth due to her child having a car accident. So on to the story. My son is 2 months old at this point. My sister wanted to get school supplies at the mall. I thought, why not? It's a nice day to drive an hour to the mall. We were at the mall having a good time. I needed to change the baby. Sister didn't want to go into the parents' room with me because she said it's only for parents and a 13-year-old in there would be weird, so she waited on a seat outside. I put him on the changing table. His hat comes off. I quickly put it back on. But as I was about to do that, I heard a screaming. Me thinking of what happened. Did someone drop their child? To notice a woman next to me looking in horror at my child and me. What's that? A baby? No, that on its head. A hat? Are you stupid? Under the hat. Oh, that? A lump caused by injury at birth. So you tried to brain damage your child? No, Entitled mother tried to grab him and I slap her hand away saying don't touch him. Then she tried again. I push her with my arm. She acted like I was trying to kill her or something because she's screaming like she is hurt and crying. I try to leave. She blocks me. Move, I'm leaving. No, that's my baby. You can't look after it. I will take it. Me looking at her child that is still on the changing table trying to roll. A bit of a distance away from where she was blocking me. Well, you should look after your own child. Point at her child as it also rolled off the changing table. She catches her child just before she went over, but blamed me for that. A security guard showed up. What's happening here? She's got my baby and she's hurting it. Mrs., is that her baby or are you lying to me? She stole it and has caused brain damage to it, so I'm taking it. I thought you said the baby was yours. And if it was your baby, why don't you have a double pram? Is the child a boy or girl? Entitled mother tries to grab the baby again in anger, but security guard grabs her arm. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Entitled mother spits at him. He called for backup. We all know it's not your baby. Look up there, it's a security camera. Entitled mother yelling that he is a pervert because he's in the parents' room and there is a camera. They take her away, but she didn't even want to give up her fight. She was screaming and kicking. I think she even did some damage. After all that mess was over, talked to the security guard, gave him my contact in case police needed to get a hold of me, let me go on my way. My sister asked what happened. I told her as we were leaving. Saw entitled mother being put in a police car. All you could hear was screaming. I feel bad for both children in this story. One, because of the doctor's irresponsible mishap, and two, because that lady is the parent of this other child. She absolutely deserves to be locked up trying to steal a baby. But with that being said, that's all the stories that we have for today. So what I want to know is which of these stories that I've read for you today are your personal favorite and why? Let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you all so very much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.